specifically for all over the United States, people are losing jobs left and right. We got double-digit unemployment all over the place. More specifically, District 8. I think I saw the numbers last night on Channel 9 News. I think it was 11.8 in North Carolina.
Over 10% in Union County.
Right under 13 in South Carolina. For your district, how do we restore some of those? I mean, what do we do to get some of those jobs back?
Number one, I come back to what I talked about earlier. I think a lot of it is confidence. I look back to Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan took over for Jimmy Carter. We had interest rates at 17, 18%. We were in a great funk, if you will. And Ronald Reagan just said, folks, he looked the American people in the eye and said, we're going to get through this and we're going to come back. You know what? We will come back. This is America. We're hardworking people. We don't quit. You don't beat us down. We've never done that. That's not America. That's not the American spirit. But right now, we don't have leadership in Washington, Shane. You look at Washington. We do not have any kind of leadership up there. We don't have it from the president on down. You can't look at the president of the United States and see a great amount of confidence in what he's saying. Some of what his critics and even some members of his own party have alluded to that he doesn't exude a lot of confidence. You have to look at the American people. I'm sitting here talking to both of you, and I can honestly look at you and say, the America I know, the people I know that make up this great, great country, we will come back. But you give us a chance to come back. Lower those taxes. Lower those corporate taxes. Let that business owner hire some people by lowering his taxes. Give him incentive to do something and create jobs. Right now, the incentive to create jobs isn't there. That's lack of leadership, Shane. That is totally lack of leadership, and we need to get a conservative voice, many voices in Washington, and that's what I'll be. I'm a Ronald Reagan conservative, and that's what I'll be, and hopefully the people out there will respond to me, and I would just be totally humbled if they would support me and send me to Washington. I won't disappoint.
Well, an important point that you made as far as making changes with the economy and creating jobs is when you talked about the business owners themselves. Because the people that have been hurt hardest by this, especially in the past year under the Obama administration, is the small business owners. Mm-hmm. Small business owners are the ones he said he wouldn't tax anybody under $250,000 in income. Not only has that changed,
guess what?
But a lot of the people that make that aren't necessarily millionaires and billionaires, but just happen to get a little bit over that, are your small business owners that are these successful small business owners. They've been hit hardest by these taxes. They've been hit hardest by the recession that we were in. And because of that, a lot of the people that have lost their jobs are people that were employed by these small businesses. And I think, especially in North Carolina, there's such a great network of small business owners. That's what we were looking for a leader and someone to represent us. Say, okay, make sure our interests are known in Washington, not just the big businesses.
70% of this great country is made up of small business.
That's right.
That's the backbone of our economy. And do you feel like if I'm a small business owner, and I've talked to them, we were down in Cumberland County Saturday, back in here in Union County. We've been all over the district, and everybody says basically the same thing. Number one, out of control spending, and they just look at Washington like Washington, number one, doesn't listen, and Washington doesn't care. How this idea of healthcare,
you hit the nail on the head.
Well, exactly. Healthcare reform. It's a noble gesture. Some type of reform. Republicans have advocated that. Yes, reform. Cut some of the waste and fraud. They do that. But the number one issue that this president should have tackled a year ago, jobs, guys. Jobs. That's jobs that's number one, the number one issue, and we did it backwards. We went after healthcare because he wanted to be the first president to actually say, you know what, Bill Clinton couldn't do it, Jimmy Carter couldn't do it, and by golly, I'm going to try to be the one that does it. And right now, he's struggling to even get that done while we continue down this path of who knows where.
We got just a few minutes left. I wanted to, and I hope you don't mind me doing this. Anybody who wants to visit the website for here after he's finished here, you can go to the website. You want to vote for Harold Johnson?
Vote. I'd be proud to vote for Harold Johnson, Shane. Vote for HaroldJohnson.com. Give us a look. It's got a lot of our bioinformation and a lot of things about the issues that we stand for.
The thing that I noticed, and I wanted to read this for myself before I asked you, was about immigration. Now everybody knows our great state of North Carolina, and right here in Union County, has been hit really, really hard. Mm-hmm. And it always bothers me. I do a talk show every day at 11:30, and people call in, and you only meet two people. One, get rid of them, send them back, don't want nothing to do with them. Or two, leave them alone. And I've always said, almost verbatim, what you say here. The thing is, we got to make it easier for people who want to be legal immigrants to this country. I talk to people all the time who say, I've been in this process for 8 years. It's impossible to do. It takes forever.
Yeah. I bump into the same people you're talking about. And it is a major, and here's the thing about this. We get back, I'm going to point back to Washington, because, guys, this issue should have been dealt with years and years ago. It should have been dealt with by Republicans and by Democrats alike, but you know what? It was like the third rail. Don't touch it, because it's just it's so volatile. Those that have come to this country legally, we open our arms and our borders to them that come in legally, that go through the process, and they become fine, tax-paying citizens. And I'll tell you what, I bumped into a guy the other day. I was eating pizza, and a guy that worked behind the counter said, "Harold, I'm a citizen. I've been sworn in." And he was so proud.
Yes, absolutely.
He was so proud to have been sworn in. We have got, people forget, we've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles of unprotected border.
Yep.
George Bush added thousands of border guards during his administration, but it wasn't nearly enough. It wasn't enough. So while the influx still comes in, the illegals still come in, right? And we're faced with the situation now, of course, of the job situation. We don't have that many coming in because they can't find jobs. But I favor very much the idea of legalized immigration. It's worked for hundreds of years. Let it continue to work that way again. Come into the country legally, go through the process, and become a citizen of the United States.
Well, as we always say on the show, illegal. Just interpret the word. Legal. What's the definition of that? Illegal. What's the definition of that? Usually it'll work itself out.
Two other things quickly, Harold. One, First to Second Amendment. How do you feel? I know a lot of people now are of the mindset that if we can just get rid of guns, everything will be all right. We'll stop having murders. We'll stop having...
Hey, I shot expert in the Marine Corps, and I was so proud of that. I shot from 500 yards. I hit a bullseye 8 out of 10 times from 500 yards.
So running from you won't help.
I was so proud of that. And the bullseye, it just to put your hands, extend your arms out, and just form a circle over your head. That's about the size of the bullseye. And I want to tell you guys, I was truly so proud of that. No, you obviously have every right to keep your guns, even though there are those that want to say, that we're a lot safer in this country if you didn't have your gun. No, that's absolutely not true. But my concern is that I've heard some rumors, if you will, that there might be a movement underway to tax people that own guns. Now think about the billions of dollars that could be generated from taxing your guns. You get to keep your guns, but they're going to put a tax on your guns, and that would never fly. If I were on the House floor, that would never get far as I was concerned. I would never ever consider voting for that. You have a right to have guns. I own a gun. My son hunts, and I have another son that owns a gun. So my father-in-law had guns. So you get to keep your guns. Let's be honest about that. No movement. Anybody that would dare try that, and I know there are some that have tried, they quickly get shot down with that. And pardon, I don't mean to use that term. Excuse me. I didn't.
That was good.
I didn't mean. Good. I did not mean that at all. I correct that. But they were quickly put down very quickly with that idea of trying to take guns. That it seems like every 5 or 10 years we see a little movement start, don't we?
Yeah.
Some liberals start to move. That's it. So let's get back to the gun issue. No, it's not going to happen.
And finally, we've got 1 minute left for veterans, because you are one. I talk to veterans every day at this station. A large majority of our listeners
of all of them.
are veterans or widows of a veteran, and they're concerned. Yeah. And I understand it, because they, I actually had a gentleman call. I did a show last week about this healthcare reform, and he called in. He said, "Shane, I'm a veteran. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I use the VA system, and I can tell you it doesn't work great. If they change healthcare and run it the same way they do the VA, we're in a mess."
That's a good point.
He's a man that deals with the VA. He goes, our midday guy, Bob Rogers, he's a veteran. He goes to the VA hospital. It's an all-day trip.
I know.
I'm not saying it's broken, but no. I'm saying it could be made better.
Of course, it could be made better, and sometimes the squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the vets they do their service, and they come back, and all they expect from their country. The vets are proud. We're proud. We're not. It's not false pride. We're proud to have served. All we ask is a fair shake from our country. You don't have to come up and pat us on the back, but when we need health care, and we need to go to a hospital, I think there should be more easily accessible areas that the vets can go. Now they have access to many hospitals throughout the country. But for some vets, I think a lot of hospitals aren't involved in the program that they're involved in, and I think that should change. The vets should be, number one, they have copay for their prescriptions, and why not just give them their prescriptions? We don't need copay for them. We need to step up, always take care of our veterans, always do what we can for our veterans.
Well, man, listen, congratulations. I'm glad you decided to run. I appreciate the values and the 40-plus years you've been here and
Thank you, Shane.
What you've been through. And I know you just would humbly ask people to vote for you.
Yes, I would, folks, very much. What you saw on Harold on the air with integrity and character, somebody said to me, Harold, are you going up to Washington to get on TV? And I just looked at him and smiled, and they said, oh, yeah, you've already done that. I'm not going up to Washington to become a celebrity, to become a lobbyist. I'm going up there to do the things that you were supposed to do when our founding fathers said to the House of Representatives, you are a representative, go up there and serve your country. Serve, and that's exactly what I want to do. I'll spend my weekends back here in the district. I'm not a party animal. All my friends tease me about that. I don't drink. That's by choice. Somebody said, Harold, you spent 4 years in the Marine Corps. You didn't drink. I said, no. Somebody had to drive the Jeep. So and that's just the way it is. But I'll work hard for this district. I'll be out there. I'll be there. And by the way, we're going to be at Alice Jewell's Coffee House. We're going to leave here and head to Alice Jewell's Coffee House. So please, folks, stop by. I'd love to meet you. Love to say hello.
One final thing in closing. You won't remember me, but I remember. You remember Memorial Stadium? I think it was
Ric Flair.
The helicopter.
Oh,
I was
how do you
there.
know I wouldn't
I
remember?
saw you.
There were 25,000 people there, and I talked to Ric Flair about a week ago.
Did you?
And YouTube has some video of that.
I love Rick. I don't care what anybody says.
I know he's a character.
I was reading something the other day. They're talking about the couple of little incidents with him, and one person said, "Y'all can say what you want. It just shows me he won't hit a woman. That shows integrity."
Well, he did, because I think she may have bopped him. But to me, I'm a funny person about friendship. If you're my friend, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there for you. You'll have hard times maybe, but I'll be there for you. And Rick is like that. He's a friend. He's been a friend for years and years and years. But what Shane was talking about, we flew in with a helicopter.
I remember that.
At Memorial Stadium. It was,
he got out in that robe.
It was one of the bashes, I think, or something.
Great American Bash.
Great American Bash. 25,000 people at Memorial Stadium in Charlotte were going. The first year we did it, he was a good guy. We rode around in a golf cart and people were clapping. And I said, Rick, this is great. The next year he was a bad guy. And we remember throwing stuff and hitting me with stuff. And I said, hey, you better be a good guy next year. You're riding by yourself.
All right. Thank you, Harold.
Guys, thank you.
Harold.
JJ, thank you. And to all your listeners, too, folks, thank you. And I would be honored and proud to be your congressman. I certainly would, every bit of that.
The Talk of the Town segment.